Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, thank you for coming out tonight. My name is RJ, and tonight I do not have a top five for you. I apologize. I did not prepare that tonight. So, if anybody knows of any stories or missing children's stories ongoing, please let me know. Um, and we will take a look into them for the next time I'm live. I want to thank everybody as slowly everybody comes out, and I'm just trying to check to make sure that my audio is working. So if anybody can hear me, please let me know. I found myself on YouTube here, so we're testing to check out if I'm talking. Thank you very much. Hello, Charlie. Hello, Oreo. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Mutt Dog. Tonight, my top five it doesn't exist, and I apologize. I didn't prepare one tonight. Um, I will say this. I don't. You're hearing a lot of in the news since the mass shooting in Texas about the police tactics um, and the almost daily briefings to update everybody. Hello, cosplay. I don't believe in, and she ran. Thank you very much for joining us. I didn't say it was so before. I don't call into question what the police had done. It's a city or a town of 16,000 with a police force, I believe, of only like 8 people. They had to wait for equipment to come in from a larger city because they are not equipped, nor do they have the budgeting of um, um, to have some of the equipment the larger cities do. And I can't blame the officers, although it is tragic that children did meet their demise. Cannot blame the police officers for holding in a safe area while they waited for that equipment to arrive so they could approach the door safely, or come up with a strategy to deal with the shooter. What I have an issue with is the idiot that's running for office and handled it, as well as the flow of information that has come out from the police. With the number of error corrections that they've had to make in the following days after it happened, any normal police department would be ashamed of what their higher ups are saying. Carrie, yeah, I'm going to get into that in just a moment of what I mean by the nuts and bolts. But I just wanted to call that to your everybody's or give my opinion since I did cover cosplay and carry myself. We're live that night. If you did miss it, I would encourage anybody to go back and see it. It was a really good live that we did, covering and talking about what happened. And I think the police officers that responded to what happened should not be blamed at all. It should be the people that have gotten on stage in front of the cameras and given so much in misinformation and redirected information and corrections that it is ridiculous. Ridiculous to the point where there needs to be, and I'm not saying there's corruption. I'm not saying there's I'm not saying that there's any corruption. I'm not saying that there was any preventive measures that they could have taken in the situation. But instead, the preparation that those officers had was ridiculous. They should have had them better prepared for what happened. But again, like I said, if you had not seen what the live on Tuesday night, it was very good. Thank you, Charlie, for agreeing with me. I appreciate that. Um, Cosplay, thank you very much. Please, if you please do hit that thumbs up and subscribe button and bell notification, just in case you had not done so before. Charlie, yes, there was a deputy that went in, and this is why I'm saying I don't have a problem with the tactic, the strategy that they used to secure their safety. Is that yes, an officer did go in at first to see where the where everything was, but when he realized where it was and how vulnerable he would be by approaching, he backed off and got himself into a safe location and made sure there was kids that were in a vulnerable position were gotten out of the way. So, like I said, I don't have an issue with what he did, what they did. They needed the equipment that a larger city would have to be able to handle that. But I just wanted to touch on that because there was so much coming out in the past week, and since we did cover, I just want to give my opinion on that. But the nuts and bolts that I'm talking about are the nuts and the bolts that hold this story together. Summer Wells' story. Summer Wells' story is her disappearance is and everything the parents want you to believe and the people that live on Ben Hill Road want you to believe is held on by just a few loose nuts and bolts. We're going to take a look at them and we're going to pick at them a little bit tonight. And I have a perfect example for you of what I mean by the nuts and bolts. I hope it's going to let me share it. So bear with me just a second here. I apologize. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, it's not letting me share, but hang on. I got another way to share this. Bear with me just a moment. Now, what I'm going to share with you, please understand, it is a microscopic look. As soon as I find the right image here, bear with me just a moment. Please don't be grossed out by this because this is nothing different than what you would see in a high school um, um, slide or a college slide if you were studying if you were taking a science class. As soon as I find the right image, my apologies, folks. I had copied it, downloaded it, and it's not letting me share what I had downloaded. Yes, I am still here. Bear with me just a moment. There are these little fibers in your body that connect every cell together or like cells together. And they have a very particular name to them. Let me see if we'll share this. Took me a moment to make sure there was no ads on this, so bear with me just a moment here. So the cell, what I'm talking about is this right here. And I apologize if it's out of focus. I had to enlarge it, so it made it out of focus. This is nothing more than you're going to see in a high school or college level textbook, guys. This is nothing, anything gross. This is just a little sample of what the cell structure of in your spleen looks like. It's where I found this the best. And there's called a reticular fiber that it's pointing to right in this area. And it's connecting all like cells together. Okay, all this little black or darker area that looks like a line or even the letter T is the reticular fiber. And the nuts and bolts that are holding the stories that you hear together, and they're barely holding the story together, just like these reticular fibers are. Their only purpose is to connect the like cells together and hold them to get in the same area, so they can't go in randomly show up in a person's foot, or at least they're not supposed to be. They remain where the spleen is, but they're not just located in your spleen, they're throughout your whole entire body, and they do the same purpose. And that's what these nuts and bolts are. These nuts and bolts that I'm talking about are held more loosely than super glue bonding two items together. And the reason I'm bringing up these nuts and bolts is that we're at a point, we're 2.5 weeks away from being 1 year. Yes, cosplay, exactly. Like axons and dendrites. Same exact idea. We're 2.5 weeks away from being 1 year. And we've reached a point, and why I realize this is, and I don't fault the creator. It's not his. This is not his agenda on his show. So I am definitely not knocking this person. But it was somebody that called into him, and I realized that we're at a point where people are starting to spout conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory about what happened to Summer Wells, and they're building conspiracy theory on top of conspiracy theory. That's when it clicked in my mind that it's nuts and bolts, or this reticular fiber. We've got to return back to what is known and what the police have said to be good. Whether you believe it or not, there's a big, huge question that somebody had said they were associated or had known the Ronnie Lawson, sheriff in Lawson in Hawkins County. Whether or not she spoke to him and dropped a hint. I'm going to put it as she dropped a hint, or he dropped a hint to her about 4 hours. And why did it take 4 hours for them to call and report Summer missing? And it struck me. Why is he saying 4 hours? Parents called at 6:21 and 6:23 to report that Summer was missing. You go back 4 hours, and that's approximately 2:30 in the afternoon. And you have the press conference, and I cannot remember her name all of a sudden. She was the representative from the TBI, blonde-haired woman. I'm sure somebody in my chat's about to type it, or is typing it right now and about to pop up on my screen in just a second. But you all know who I'm talking about. Leslie Earhart, thank you, cosplay, was in a press conference and she specifically said that Summer was last seen in the early afternoon. I'm going to go back to I'm going to go back to a statement or mentioning another video that I had done. It's titled "They Said What." When you stop and look at what exactly the Wells have said, it makes you sit there and scratch your head like this just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Like the statement that I had pointed out in that video that Candace Wells did not have an emotional response to Summer missing until she realized how it was affecting the boys. Right, right, Carrie. She didn't give out the address either. She just said the 100 block of Ben Hill Road. So this is where there's nuts and bolts are. It's these little details that when you poke at them, just like a well-oiled nut or bolt, you put just enough spin or just enough pressure on that nut or that bolt, and they're going to just spin right apart. So what the TBI, what Ronnie Lawson is saying is that we believe absolutely nothing of what they said happened from approximately 2:30 in the afternoon till 6:21 and 6:23. 6:21 being when Candace called, 6:23 when Don was called 911 to report Summer missing. She she ran calling wildfire. You're exactly right. More questions than answers in the Summer Wells case for sure. You're exactly right. But that's the thing is that we just got to keep picking at the little details. The little details add up to be so much in this. So going back in the timeline of what did happen. What happened at 2:30 in the afternoon? H was dropped off. H had a 3 p.m. doctor's appointment that he had to be at. So his mom said he had to be back by 2:30. That is where they stopped believing anything about what happened to Summer. H is the last time anybody with any credibility, when H was dropped off, excuse me, folks, sorry about that. When H was dropped off, it was the last time that there was any accountability or any accountable person that they said that this person is telling the truth that Summer was alive. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. H's purpose of being there that day when they were running errands goes back beyond the rumors of them saying that Candace and H were involved, and it goes beyond the coincidence of them being at the hospital for to be seen by the ortho clinic that day. H was there to be proof of life that Summer was alive on June 15th. Anything that may have happened involving H at the horse pond, I personally believe, and this is my opinion and not something I have any proof of yet. So please forgive me. This is not. This is purely my what I believe, that they had a distraction planned for H. Whether it be that Candace and him went and hid in the truck that day for a little bit of time. What they were doing, have no idea. Could be, if you believe the rumors around Kingsport, that they were involved somehow. Could be anything from there was a interaction with a friend. And again, this is purely speculation, folks. Purely my opinion. Through them conducting possibly a deal of some kind going down, while Summer was not attended to like she should have been at the horse pond. If I know I've picked up some new persons, and not all of them are here tonight. She ran calling Wildflower, I know, is a new person with us tonight, and the that she I do believe, and people did not like the phrasing I use, but I do thank you for joining me. And wanting to find out more. My apologies. I had just some sort of noise in my kitchen that was happened, and I didn't see what it was. So I've called what happened to Summer a happy accident, and a lot of people do not like that. Trust me, there was a lot of conversation about that. A happy accident. Allow me to explain that a little bit, because on that program that I was on and talking to, um, I didn't feel like I had an not that, not again, not his fault. I didn't feel that explaining it there would have been fruitful. Trust me, nothing happened to Summer is happy. The happy accident is purely from the viewpoint of Candace and Don. They did not want Summer to go to school. School was about to start in about 5-6 weeks from when she went missing. They did not want her to find out that other kids were not treated the same way that she got treated when she was living at home on Ben Hill Road. I believe that the reason Don immediately ran or went to that shed, that shed that is, hi Rain, how are you? Thank you for joining. I believe the reason that Don Wells had went to that shed or had been called a feed barn or feed storage area is that a lot more happened there. A lot more happened there than anybody wants to talk about. It gave privacy from the boys, ease of access because it was right off of Beach Creek Road. And yes, folks, I am talking about some very dark and sinister. I did not at first believe that there was SA happening to Summer. But the more that I dug into what happened, the history of persons involved, and things that I've heard, and if you're not familiar, haven't picked up, I am from the Kingsport, Tennessee area. That SA to her did happen. And the reason that Don Wells went there first is to make sure that nobody there was to meet Summer. Thank you, Carrie and cosplay. You all guys always have my back. Thank you very much. And exactly, we stand behind all victims. We stand not only behind them, but we stand with them. It would have been a perfect place, a hiding in plain sight, far enough away where it wasn't near any neighbors. The quick ease of access to be in and out of there. And when Don took a look and reminded us way back when, the only thing that was there, supposedly was there, was a broken down mower. But that's the reason he went to there, is to make sure that, guys, please, again, a trigger warning. I don't know how else to phrase this, and I apologize up front. But to make sure that somebody did not arrange for Summer to have a date. Mutt Dog, thank you. If I didn't say hello to you, thank you very much for joining us. I know a lot of you were over enjoying Phoenix live for a while. Well, thank you very much. And again, I apologize because I lack the way of wording it any better. So that's two things right there. Two things right there. That if you sit there and look at it, there had to be a reason why. Now, I really don't know the exact reason. I'll be honest with you. I don't know it. I'm not going to pretend to know it. But when you sit there and think about it, it makes sense. Just like back when Don Wells was talking to Voices Behind the Wall. I know that channel's changed its names, but I don't know what the new name is. I haven't followed that channel in a long time or paid attention to the channel in a long time. And he was driving around and he went to Chimney Top Loop. And he drove around there. Christy and Carrie, thank you very much for those messages. And yes, again, please do not forget to like, share, hit the subscribe bell and that notification bell. I'm sorry, subscribe button and notification bell if you have not done so already. I found out about the YouTube algorithm that the share feature is more so important than hitting that like button these days. The more it gets shared, the better it is, or more is promoted within YouTube. And I appreciate you for doing so. The problem with Chimney Top Loop isn't Chimney Top Loop or the properties that are around it. Even there's some people want to make a bigger to do. I can agree with wanting to investigate. That's an excellent point, Charlie. Absolutely excellent point. I don't know about so much Don Wells, but I believe the rest. Hello, Phoenix. Thank you for joining us. I don't know about Don Wells, but I do believe there was other persons involved. And then we come to every single thing. And yes, I'm not following continuous timeline in this. I am jumping around a little bit, but it's not important the order of things. It's just like when you have a loose thread in a piece of garment, a shirt, whatever, and you pull that one piece of thread. When you know you should take a lighter to it, so that way it will actually not unravel the whole entire shirt. But instead, you go ahead and pick it anyway. It might not happen immediately that shirt gets and lands up with a hole, or the stitching around the edge that gives it its shape down around the edging finally gives way. But with time, a hole will develop, or that hem will come undone. So the going back to where I started, nuts and bolts. First, you had Don Wells making all these statements to anybody and everybody that wanted to listen. It was hillbilly druggy. Then it was Cornbread Mafia when that got brought up. She ran calling wildfire. Thank you very much. It was the hillbilly druggie. And if you go back a couple videos of mine, well, you'll understand why it's not possible for a hillbilly or a person that is truly a hillbilly to have come and down to the property to take Summer. Just a quick recap of what I said on that was a hillbilly is not somebody from Tennessee, not from the Appalachian Mountains. Whether you transport to be living here or you're born and raised here, this is not hillbilly country. A hillbilly is from Western Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, going west through Ohio. That is where a hillbilly is from. So a person that lives up in that part of the country, although it's only going to take them, say, 6 hours to come down here, they're not going to come down here to find the property on Ben Hill Road. Like I said, I'm just going to touch on that quickly. I already went into detail about that, but that's not the point I'm making with this nuts and bolts, but it does relate. These are the kinds of things that we have to be careful of, because this is the point that we're at with Summer Wells, is that conspiracy theories are starting to be stacked upon conspiracy theories. And it's getting even to be a bigger mess. The everything Jody Sue has said about Summer Wells or the Wells family. This is going to be a big one, guys. This is a big thread this time. This is this isn't just a nut and bolt. If you've ever built like a deck or anything like that, we're talking this is a lag bolt. This is something that you drill into a 2x4 or a 4x4, and you're using to be able to structurally hold up a lot of weight and pressure. We're going to yank that right out at the foundation. Back in September, when it was circulating about the scream and the muffled scream after Don Wells had said it, the animalistic scream and then the muffled swing, muffled scream. My apologies. Ronnie Lawson came out and said they find nothing credible about what that person has said. Nothing credible that person has ever said. But yet this person runs the WJHL and talks to them constantly, trying to give them information, misinformation. I was listening and talking to John Q earlier today, and he said that forgive me, I don't remember exact wording, but he was saying that there was, I apologize, my mind just has drawn a total blank. I hate when that happens, don't you? Yes, Carrie, I very well know how you feel about JSB, and my sentiments are the same exact thing. The fact that Ronnie Lawson had come out and said that there was nothing credible said by that person, but yet YouTube, some creators, really one creator, has sat there and said and devoted their channel basically right now to everything this person is saying. And I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. I'm not mentioning their name. There's nothing credible. The police have already dismissed every single thing she said. There's nothing credible that she ever said. So what is she covering up? She trying to cover up her own history and what she did on Ben Hill Road? Or is she trying to be the now the megaphone for them? Because as I was mentioning a few moments ago, we don't hear from Don Wells anymore. He's in jail. Just as short as I'm sitting here, I believe the uppers, because people are starting to pick at that thread of who these people are. And somebody somewhere has hit the nail on the head. Whether it be myself with the very first video I made, or it's been the two other creators that have come out and said something later within the past 3 weeks about who they believe the uppers are. They've silenced Candace Wells. They've told Candace Wells, no matter if you believe my very first video or you believe what the two other creators put out there. And my very first video, I said it was at a group of individuals that are from the church they go to. And I had found proof or an example of how it was possible that this was the case. Somebody in college, an education major in college, did a thesis paper, and they focused on the structure of the school system. Yes, Charlie, that is what I believe. But I'm keeping Wildfire's point up here, or question up here, because I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. But you are that Charlie K. That is exactly who I believe. That the uppers, the structure of the school system that this person details, and while I don't remember the phrase that I had pointed out from this thesis paper, from the paper that this person wrote, right off the top of my head, the same structure. Don't know if anybody has any religious school background or anything like that. Don't need to apologize, Charlie. You're good. I feel the same way. You got to put her on 1.75 fast in order to be able to make her more interesting. But there's a point. There's a point where I'm getting with this. So I'm saying that the uppers and the video that I have made was, the school system structure is only going to be a mirror image of what the structure of the church, because they believe in and they know that that system works for them. And there's a point in there that I believe explains in a very broad strokes who the uppers are. And yes, this is why I was saying Charlie is right. I believe they come from within the church. But I'm not going to sit here and say this is absolutely has to be the answer. It could be what the other two creators have said since then. And if you do decide to go back and watch my first video, please. Uh, uh, I had some technical issues, but be patient. I think it lasts for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm into talking about it. It was my first video, so I'm not surprised I had technical issues. The so I'm saying this group of people that seems to be constantly or was constantly mentioned when Candace was talking. I have to talk to the uppers. I have a meeting with the uppers. I have to contact the uppers. I have to. The uppers are in control. The uppers have this information, so on and so forth. Then cosplay, you understand what I mean about the structure of the organization, the church being, as far as administration, being mirrored in the structure of the school, because all of those have their own school systems. The phrase is a Greek phrase, I believe it was, and I don't remember the exact phrase, but the way I explained it was, you ever seen a person, and I think they're idiots for doing so, but they do kind of serve its purpose, other than to annoy the police. People that do First Amendment audits, where they're testing the response of the police department and make sure they're following the First Amendment, or as the people are supposedly flexing the First Amendment. This group of people believe that they hold the same type of ability, that what they decide and what they say goes above and beyond what the law of the land is. We're a nation of laws. And no, I'm not trying to be political. I'm not trying to talk about government, politics, nothing. We are a nation of laws. Nobody, no matter what position they hold in the world, in this country, is above the law. That's why we're a nation of laws. But this group of people believe they are above the law, that if you get into any sort of criminal trouble, you go tell them about it, and they will decide what the correct course of action, what the necessary thing that you need to do. Go back, but going back to Jody Sue, she's the next person that has been allowed a loudspeaker, that megaphone, where she's just announcing and throwing just complete junk out there. And each and every person I've mentioned so far has only gone and pulled that thread in that hem or that shirt that's going to lead to a hole in it. They've only pulled it a slightly further, causing them to be more stressed. And if you really add up everything they're saying, that thread's starting to unravel. No, I don't believe they have any importance in anything they said. Either all three of them. There's no importance whatsoever in what any of the three of them have said. And this is where I was saying that conspiracy theory upon conspiracy theory is being spun. I go back to the very first episode to explain this of NCIS. You had one of the very opening scenes, you had a person carrying what's called the football. It's a briefcase that never is far from the president of the United States. It's always in the hands of a military person unless the president needs it. We're not going to go into details. The shows upon shows have gone into details of what that football is and what it represents. But it's the person that was carrying it got sick. And the group that became known for being NCIS had gone and taken over the aircraft and started processing it as a crime scene. And they make a point of saying that if details do not line up and match each other, whether it be from department to department, or whether it be from a location to a location, or a timeline is not matching up, this is where a conspiracy theory is spawned. That is how a conspiracy theory is spawned. What we know about Summer Wells is that what the TBI said when they very first spoke, that Miss Leslie Earhart spoke about. Sometime on the early afternoon of June 15th, Summer Wells had gone missing. The provable things that happened that day is Grandma, or as some other YouTubes call her, Grandis, went to the hospital that morning. They went swimming at Warrior State Park. They picked up a prescription from Walgreens. That was approximately 1:33 in the afternoon. The rest of the details of what happened that day have never been released fully, other than they went to Sonic to get slushies. They went to Catch 21, and they went to the hippie hop shop. They went to two head shops. that are almost right next to each other, or within a couple blocks of each other. Here's another thread that she ran calling wildfire. Sorry, not wildflower. I keep saying that wrong. Had brought up. Everybody keeps saying that CPS didn't open an investigation until the 16th. Did I say catch 21? If I did, Carrie has the right name of the place. It's catch 22. It's a head shop. You can go buy glass paperweights, as you have to call them in Tennessee. Every single time somebody has reported this, and forgive me, guys, you're going to hear me open up a soda bottle in a second here. Every single time somebody speaks about the DCS, they relate it to being the 16th. And this goes from Don Wells, Summer Wells as well. The truth of that thread right there is that the neighbors called the police the end of May, beginning of June, and reported that there were so many problems. The kids were always filthy, running around. Nobody's paying attention to them. There were rats worse than wharf rats on the property and in the neighborhood. If you've ever been to New York City, you know exactly what a wharf rat is. Except for these rats that are on the property were more aggressive than a wharf rat. They were more aggressive than a wharf rat, meaning they would actually run up and try to attack the kids or the neighbors. And CPS repeatedly came out to try to speak with Candace and Don Wells. And you know what they would happen? You know what would happen? All of a sudden, everybody had to go take a trip in town. She sped off and left loud and quick as possible. Or if they didn't have a vehicle available, she'd go into your house and lock all the doors so nobody can get in. And they wouldn't answer the doors. Multiple times since DCS was called, they had come out to the property. It wasn't until June 16th when the Wells actually had no option but to speak to them. They were trapped. They couldn't go anywhere but be there or at the site where the searchers were leaving from at Mount Carmel Church. And they're the wolf rats are the ones that are aggressive. Am I correct, Charlie? The wharf rat isn't aggressive, but the wolf rat is. So the yeah, going back to the 90s when I was up in that area, it was the same thing. They're never going to get rid of them. Major nuisance, beautiful park area right downtown. Great place to go and sit down, park benches and things like that. But those rats just destroy it, make it hard, make it impossible to do so. Do you see where what I'm saying about the conspiracy theories and what these people are saying and all these theories that are people are spawning off of instead of just focusing on what we know to be good has caused most of the problems about Summer Wells's case, about her disappearing. And it's not the police's fault. It's her own damn parents' fault. They're the ones that are spinning this web, or spinning this cocoon, actually. That is getting tighter and tighter around them. We're back to the divergent train, folks. We're back to that video that I made with that goofy image of a train. Everything is mounting up. Exactly, Charlie. Exactly. But if for you that have seen that video and know what I'm talking about when I said explain that divergent train and the symbols that I've always referred to back when I started talking about this case on um, um, uh, uh, Betty Washam's channel. I never intended to have my own channel. I just was more than happy to sit there and talk about it because I felt that way before anybody that was local was speaking up. And despite my abilities to understand what goes on through a spirit box and all of that, and to be able to understand and hear and see things that happen in the spiritual world. No, it was after. It was after the after she disappeared when we started speaking about her. It was after that I had joined her channel or started partnering up with her. And I never had the intent of doing my own channel. Cosplay and Carrie will tell you, they were the ones, they were people that encouraged me to have my own channel because they thought they think that highly of my opinions about this case and how I speak. The thing about this whole entire case, wow, I really just realized how connected each one of my and I had not had any intention of doing this. that each and every single one of the videos I've done on Summer Wells are so connected. Sorry, guys. I'm just in awe for a second there. That it just hit me that the videos. It's not just that they're just on Summer Wells. It's that when you look at them, and if you had time to review them, go back and watch them. And I'm not saying you have to go back and watch them. I've given you somewhat of a recap of those. That how connected they are, and how they've all come to this point where we're at right now. And there was never an agenda to be from where I started to this point. It's just something that happened. So the whole business with Jody Sue speaking, and I don't care which side of somebody is on the squabbles, that bickering, backfighting, whatever you want to call it, that happened between creators. Squalted did a great job with the 7.5 hour long video where she had linked all of what JSB had said on Facebook. Linked all those videos together. The point is, though, that when you sit there, and yes, I did watch the full 7.5 hours. While I did other things, I did watch and listen to the full 7.5 hours. She never actually makes sense. Never. Whether it is that if you caught on to this, what she said about the whole men dropping ballpoint pens in front of her, to she knows where to find whatever kind of drug that anybody could ever want in Kingsport. The way she said it, and the manner in which she said it, or the reason why she said it, has no rhyme or reason. There's a famous poem, happily, happily, lightning brigade. I don't remember the exact words. I believe it was Tennyson that wrote it. Where he sits there and he talks about a brigade of soldiers that go marching into a battle, and the soldiers know that they're doomed. Guys, bear with me a moment here. My signal is fading out on me. Okay, I'm back now. Back to full strength again. These soldiers just go marching into this field blindly, knowing that they're going to meet their demise at the hands of their enemy. We have three different people that are trying to be the commander of this army. My apologies, folks. I am back once again. It was my internet signal dropped out there for a moment. I apologize about that. We were talking before I had. I should be back now, cosplay. I'm here. Point I was making right before is that this Lord Tennyson poem, and I don't remember what the name is. Just I know happily, the Lightning Brigade. I can't remember that. That's just one of the two lines that stick out in my head right now. I was talking about how it's leading these soldiers right into a battlefield, and that these soldiers are actually the people, the creators, the people that are following the story, the true crimes community, right into that battlefield. And they're sitting back and laughing. They're laughing at the little game that they're playing. And the sad thing is that they don't realize that they're only going to end up getting themselves in trouble in this. That they're showing that they're involved. And they're showing that the length that they are involved by doing this. If none of them spoke, if none of them ever got on social media, with the exception of what Brandy has been doing for her son, Michael Vaughn. What Brandy has done for for Monkey was advocating for the law that they passed in Idaho, and for that she is not giving up hope. She is not misleading. She's out there going on social media and making sure that people have the facts right. And that in her heart, she believes that they are going to bring Michael home alive. That is example of what a parent should be like. I can almost guarantee if you were to see a picture of their house and where Michael Vaughn slept, not one thing changed from the day he went missing. The bed might be made if it was not made before, but his toys are there. His clothes are still there, the same size. Nothing's changed. And then you take a look at what the Wells have done. Summer's toys are gone. No signs of Summer ever being there. No clothes, nothing. No girly hair brushes, no nothing. They're just gone, packed up, gone, thrown away. As if just as an example of Summer never mattered. And that's what makes it so hard and why everybody wants Summer to be found alive. Is to prove to their parents that Summer mattered. Excuse me, let me correct that. That Summer matters. You know, I said I was talking to John Q earlier today, and when he was live, he started his live at like 5 o'clock this morning and went till noon. He's another New Yorker, so that's why I know he was up at 5 o'clock this morning, and he made the point. He was making a point. Um, Man, my mind keeps going blank, and I apologize. I keep mentioning him in his live this morning, but every single time I do, I'm just drawing a mental blank. So I apologize, folks. Nonetheless, he made amazing and awesome points this morning about Summer. John Q, if you do watch this or see this at some point, I keep mentioning you, and I apologize, but I'm purely drawing a mental blank on what you said. But it was going in line of where I was going next. Um, Summer never mattered to her mom. Carrie, you're exactly right. You are exactly right. There's that fiber that I mentioned at the beginning of the when I started talking about Summer Wells tonight. There's that fiber, that connective fiber. Summer Wells was that connective fiber. No, I'm not going to sit here and say that a child can hold a piece of property or a family together. It's not the child's responsibility to do so. But she was that bond that they wanted to pretend didn't matter. Here's another one of those little moments that I'm talking about, but the nuts and the bolts. It was always reported, always said that Summer's spot, if you couldn't find her playing with her toys and she was outside playing, she was on her tree swing. How could she have ever been on that tree swing when one of the vehicles that they had on that property that had no engine was parked there and moved after Summer went missing? Yes, guys, I promise you, when I say some stuff like this, the pausing is part on purpose. It's not trying to be anything like the actor, what's his name, known for putting great pauses in things. I really mean that. It just, you think about that. Just give it a moment and think about it. How could she have been playing on a swing when a broke down truck was parked there? It was parked at the front door and moved to where the swing was, and then moved again after Summer Wells had been gone missing. Well, Charlie, that's an excellent point there. But I actually think that the Wells were telling the truth because it's such an endearing story, and it describes Summer well. It puts Summer in a positive light. It's not that she just. It's not the story about Yucky, the dog, that they named Lucky, and she couldn't say and called it Yucky, so everybody else called the dog Yucky. It's along those lines, but it's not that enduring. It's not that story. It was that she had the dexterity and the agility to be able to climb up on, pull herself up on that swing. So that gives you a context of her being there and an action being there, and describing her as being strong for somebody her age, smart for somebody her age, because she could figure out how to climb up and get on that swing. No, I still don't believe she ever got out of the truck that day when they returned to Ben Hill Road. I still don't believe she got out of the truck. And the reason is because of how Candace described when they returned from getting groceries and dropping H off that afternoon on the 5th, June 15th, that when she went and got out of the vehicle, she went to the door to get the boys and then went back to the truck to get groceries to take into the house rather, and Summer, and get Summer out of the truck. Summer was an afterthought in that statement. Now, guys, I know a lot of the times I don't have the exact wording. The exact wording of what they say is not important. The paraphrasing, I promise you, when I paraphrase it, I'm giving you the nuts and the bolts about what is important. Yes, I did say nuts and bolts there on purpose. It's that they had to add her into the story to point out and make reference that, oh, she was there as well. That Summer's part of the story as well. Not a natural, oh, we all got out of the truck and took groceries into the house. The boys came out and helped us get the groceries. That's how that statement should have gone. Carrie, I think they cut that swing down because they had because of Candace deciding to walk away from all the children. No, she was not on that swing that day. She was not on that swing. One of the trucks it was in the yard that you saw all lined up with the other vehicles. I think it's to the left of if you're looking at that front door, it's to the left where they parked them. One of the trucks that they had over there had no engine. It was a busted up, broke down truck that they didn't get somebody to tow off to a junkyard. Somebody bought the engine for parts. And they were trying to sell off more parts from this truck. You get an older truck that's not working, and you can sell that engine because they don't make that model any longer. Their parts are rare, hard to get. You can easily make $800-900 on just the engine. Yeah. That truck was originally parked in front of the front door. It had gotten moved to be closer to the swing or where the swing was. And then after Summer Wells had gone missing, it was moved to where the other vehicles parked. Not where the bus was, not where those breakdown vehicles are. It was parked over where the working vehicles are. So, she ran calling wildfire. There we go again, calling you wildflower. Please forgive me. There's a creator that does a whole thing on football. He's a Green Bay Packer fan, and this is why I keep calling you wildflower. I'm not personally a Green Bay Packers fan, but I followed what he was doing, and the back last year and the year before when the NFL team from Washington D.C. Had no name essentially. It went with the letters WFT. And he had done the thing on the NFC and AFC East that season, the first season. And the team from Washington, he actually called or named Wildflower Turquoise. So if for some reason my mind keeps going, I'm such a football fan that I see Wild F, and it just Wildflower keeps coming out, and I apologize about that. I think you're partly right in what you say, though. I've said all along that I don't believe what his father is saying, and his mom's not saying anything. Cosplay, we talked about this when AJ Brown got traded. I like the Eagles. Going back to H though. Yeah, H was acting funny. And I don't remember which video it was. Charlie, you're fine. Don't worry. Oh no, cosplay, you're fine. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I'm just moving all along and talking about H. We'll talk some about football. We'll joke around with football during the football season. Trust me, that's coming up. But H, I don't know if he was acting funny or that he blamed himself. And the weight of blaming himself, the weight of blaming himself for what happened. If there was something that happened at the swimming pond or in the parking lot of the grocery outlet, the grocery store, whatever the name of it is, um, I think he tries to blame himself, thinking that she got a sudden illness because that's my personal theory, the sudden illness. That's why I personally believe is there was a sudden illness. And he blames himself for not recognizing the signs or being there and not doing anything to prevent what he didn't know he would need to prevent. I personally don't not blame him like his father did. Like his father threw him so far under a freaking bus for the way he's been acting and not wanting to go to school. How many times would you like to go to school and you have to be asked by your classmates, your peers, what happened to your cousin? Change yourself in the position of H. You're his age. Phoenix, I see you. Don't worry. Change yourself his age. Put yourself into his position. Would you want to be going to school and being asked 1,000 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, however many times there are students in your school? Would not that kind of pressure get to you? That constant being asked? I know I would have buckled. I would have been like, I need to be homeschooled for a year, no matter if it's a pandemic or not, or whatever. And I can't deal. I can't deal with these other people's and all the questions they're asking me. It's not, it's I would have buckled. And I don't claim to be a strong person. I had made the statement before, and I made it several times, that I don't believe what his father had said. That, yes, granted, the school system may have stepped in and said, try to bring up truancy charges or whatever to try to force him back to going to school. Or even to make a case to work with him, that he doesn't have to attend classes in school. He can do all his work at home. But I don't believe for one second that he was in a boot camp. I believe that the weight of the information crushed him. Had gotten so heavy for him that he was going to go down the same path that Jose went down. Whether it was intentional or by accident. I believe they put him into a mental hospital for a while. That way he can actually get help. Figure out a plan of how to deal with the knowledge that he has. Because you're right. I do believe he knows something. I believe he's the witness, the key witness to a lot of things that happened on June 15th in that early afternoon and morning. That's an excellent point, Cosplay. That really is. The further and further the people drift from paying attention to the story. And my regulars and my people that have been with me from day one, and going back to previous from day one, to go back to, I don't know when it was that I started saying this, to be honest, folks. I'm pretty sure Carrie will know. I've said, or she'll know that I've said this. I've said that once social media stops paying attention, stops talking about Summer Wells. This is when the pressure is going to get to the family. They're not going to like that. All the attention is off them because of all the things they're doing right now is attention on me, please. Attention on me, please. Blue light special on aisle number 4, and the blue light special, blue light being on right on the shoulders of Don and Candace. And forgive me if you're not old enough to remember what a blue light special is. There used to be a store called Kmart, and they would randomly have what they called the blue light special. It was their version of a manager sale. And it would be a bin or a rack with a blue light flashing above it. And they would announce it over the store's PA system. We have a blue light special. Yeah, Kmart. That's ironically where I draw that from. Just so everybody knows, not or that original. Just I remember Kmart. I'm old enough to remember Kmart stores. Um, they were a bit. The reputation of that place was that it was a horrible place to go shopping, but it really was not that bad. It just wasn't the greatest quality. Oh yeah, it was almost like it was a race to go find out what was on the blue light special. Yep, it was almost like it was a race. But that's exactly what the family, the adults from Ben Hill Road want. That blue light special is on their shoulders, not a spotlight on Summer Wells. And the reason I'm still comparing this to how Brandy has handled the whole situation with her son missing. And no matter if I like the channel or not, when she gets on a live panel, you as an empath, I can literally just feel the emotions pouring off of her and how she is fighting to keep it together to have an interview and talk about her son. Every single time she speaks about her son, about Michael, she is literally fighting the emotions to fall apart. But Brandy is the example of what a parent should be. Her, no matter if Tyler speaks or not, Brandy's brave enough to get up and speak up. Let him be that supporting figure that's in the background for her to help her speak. Nothing wrong with it. No, Charlie, you're right. Brandy is nothing like Candace, but still, you have the example of what a parent should be, an example of what a parent should be in that situation versus what a parent should not be in that situation. We need to keep picking at these threads, nudging those bolts, see if they tighten up or they come spinning off. Everybody needs to get back to the facts. What we know to be absolutely true. Wipe out all the other details. Forget them. Let them go. If we don't have a proof of some sort of proof that this happened, if TBI, Ronnie Lawson, or any other level of police, and I know Hawkins County is taking it on the chin with the way people on YouTube have tried to characterize them. If they're not coming out and saying it directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter to Summer missing. Where I live, without giving away details of where I live, I live out. I leave out of the place I live, and I walk about 5 blocks, probably less than that. I'm physically in Hawkins County. When I say that I am 20 minutes by back road away from Ben Hill Road, I mean 20 minutes. 20-minute drive. Knowing that knowing that I'm only a 20-minute drive away, and thankfully, some days I'm thankful I don't have a car. I don't drive. And I'm grateful that I don't, because I wouldn't want to be known for some of the things that creators have done. The constant noise, the constant harassment that has gone on. Um, I will say that I've lived in the New York metro area. I've lived in Philadelphia metro area. I've also lived in central Massachusetts. Um, I've lived in the three other states, but I'm not going to mention them. That'd be more than enough, too much information on me. the next 2.5 weeks. And I challenge everybody. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's another creator. In the next 2.5 weeks, if creators are not talking about the nuts and bolts, the little idiosyncrasies that is in the Summer Wells case, if they're not reaching into their bucket and taking a look at them, at what the little details are that are going to pull the story, the shred the story down to its details, the facts that matter. No matter how much you enjoy talking about the tragedy that is Summer Wells being missing, until after June 15th, if you're listening to and watching a creator that is not talking about these details, not talking about just the facts of Summer Wells missing and how it is all starts at 110 Ben Hill Road and all ends at 110 Ben Hill Road, and everything else just doesn't matter. I challenge each and every one of you, if you're not watching a creator that when they talk about Summer Wells, they're not doing that, block them out till after the 15th. And if other creators happen to be lurking or in the next couple of days or next day happens to be sitting there and see this, I challenge you to do the same thing. Talk about only the nuts and bolts of Summer Wells missing. Forget everything else. What happened to Rose Bly in the next week and a half, 2.5 weeks doesn't matter. What happened, the stories that are coming out of Wisconsin don't matter. What happens, the drama that happens in other channels doesn't matter. Two and a half weeks. Now, if another major tragedy happens, like what happened in Buffalo, or what happened in Texas, and in fact, the shooting that happened today at a memorial service, that I didn't mention at the top of my show. Where I believe it was estimated crowd of about 1,500 people, and I believe it was 8 people were injured or met their demise today. Charlie, you have it exactly right. A lot of creators are directing from Summer with all the hate. It's getting disgusting. Beyond covering a story like that, like I did on Tuesday night, that's current live news. And that needs to be put out there because some people don't watch the news. They'll run to YouTube. Allow creators to cover that. But if they're true crime creators and they're not covering Summer Wells in the next 2.5 weeks and getting down to the nuts and bolts as we get to June 15th, I challenge you to block them out. Because the only thing that matters when it comes to Summer Wells is what we can prove. What the police have said, the sheriff's department said, what the TBI has said, they're the only things that matter. Now, I personally will admit and say that I do have plans and working on plans with John Q about talking about Buffalo and the problems that they are having with the mass shootings in this country. If my count is correct, that was like today would have been the 201st one. But I've also seen a number as high as this would have been 215 for this year. That is something that also needs to be talked about. But when somebody talks about Summer Wells, as redundant as it may sound, the only thing that matters is the facts that can be proven. The facts that can be proven, folks. It isn't going to hurt a creator that if they're not talking about just the facts of what happened to Summer Wells, and Phoenix, you'll actually appreciate this if you're still here. Phoenix isn't the tarot card reading. Part of my plan for June 15th is that I'm going to go to Morrison Cemetery, which is, if you're not familiar with the name, don't worry about it. I'm about to explain where it is. It's directly across the road from Ben Hill Road on Beach Creek Road. And my plan is to go and meditate on Summer Wells. Yes, I'm going to have my spirit box there. I'm going to record what I hear. And yes, when that next day, we will all go over it. But my focus is still on Summer Wells and what happened. And Phoenix, that is, if you're still here, the question I was asking earlier when I asked you for that card reading. Is going to Morrison Cemetery and meditating on Summer Wells the right move I need to be making? And the card that she drew for me said meditation. Yeah. So even before the Phoenix had explained to me what the card was meaning, the fact that it just said meditation, my question was simple. Is my plans for Morrison Cemetery the right move I need to make? That was my question, folks. And Phoenix um, was on live right before, and like I mentioned earlier, some of the people came over earlier in the stream, and I don't know if they're still here or not, but I know Cosplay was there, kind of there. She was in and out a little bit, but absolutely, it's what I was planning on doing. Part of my plan that day. Yeah, I remember you said you were gardening, Cosplay, but yeah. If you go back and think about, or Cosplay, you since you were partly there, if you go back and think about what I said when after she drew that card and she explained that card, I said, if you only knew the question I was asking and how well that fit, it would blow your mind right now. Carrie, it's okay. And that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, I'm not going over the little nuances of what Carrie and I have planned because in the next 2.5 weeks, we have to finalize that. Christy, was that the link? Uh, so, guys, I'm actually going to share cosplays, not cosplay, but Phoenix's um, live that she had on earlier. Please, I'm going to give a trigger warning on this. There is a link that she talks about, and it's put in her chat room at the beginning of the chat. If you see the chat link and they're talking about Prince, who died in 2016, if you do choose to go there, only go there to report it. Just as the Phoenix is encouraging. This is not a safe video at the beginning for kids. Okay, don't report Phoenix. Report the video that the link is to. But that is Phoenix's live that I was referring to. Guys, like I said, I very heavily caution you if you go in that video for Phoenix and if she goes live, make sure that my mods or myself are there because Phoenix is actually very close knit circle on who she knows is okay to be there because she's had issues that are not my business to discuss. So make sure that one of us are there that we can vouch for you as being coming from my stream. But again, please be careful with that link that is at the beginning, mentioned at the beginning of her live. Phoenix, otherwise, is actually very, very good uh, uh, with spirit boxes and tarot cards. And I enjoy listening to her. In fact, you'll see me comment quite a bit about when she's using her spirit box about things that I'm hearing in that video. Sometimes it'll be just one or two words that I'm just typing in real quick. But there's things that I'm picking up live as she's doing it. Charlie, you'll probably be fine, but I'm just saying on the caution. Please be cautious and make sure that we're there to vouch for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just respect to Phoenix. That's why I ask for that. But anyway, um, well, I've been talking for more than 2 hours, and I always like to give anybody an opportunity that if they want to jump up live on panel with me, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to drop a link, and we can talk about this Summer Wells for a little bit if you want. But pretty much, what I wanted to do was take a look at some of the points that are going on and some of the things that are happening and some of the people that are talking about Summer Wells and being a distraction. And that we all as a community need to focus on Summer Wells as just the sole focus on what is going in the next 2.5 weeks. And guys, please understand when I say I'm challenging you, I'm not saying, oh, you got to listen to me and only me. Just make sure that the creator that you're listening to is when they speak about Summer Wells, is not bringing Dick, Jane, and Harry into the story when Dick, Jane, and Harry have nothing to do with the story. 2.5 weeks is not a long time. It's going to go by so quick, guys. This next 2.5 weeks is going to go by so quick. At work, I don't talk about my job much here because the nuances I cannot talk about. The only thing I can say is that I work in a field that's telemarketing and medical related. Cosplay, you're fine. If you want to join me, that's fine. We can talk more. It's not a problem. I'm on a 3-day weekend. I have no restrictions, no bedtime. I don't have to be asleep by a certain time. I don't have to be up by a certain time tomorrow. But what I'm going to Carrie, you've been waiting so long for that. You've been waiting so long for your IHOP to be back to open 24 hours. Congratulations, Carrie. I'm happy that your IHOP is back open to 24 hours. But sincerely, guys, if anybody wants to jump up here and tired of typing and wants to talk for a moment, more than welcome to come up. If not, I can respect that as well. While you all think about that, I'm going to be right back in just a moment. I appreciate your patience with me. My apologies, folks. I appreciate your patience with me. I kept hearing noises in my kitchen. I finally figured out what it was. Something had fallen over on a shelf that I had stocked for when I got groceries earlier today. Audrey 3. Cosplays that are supposed to be Audrey 3. uh, Swamp bombs and dragonflies. Sure, we'll call it that. No, I probably know that it was a bag of rice that I stacked on top of something, and it probably just had, just one of those moments where it was shifting just ever so slightly, and then all of a sudden just fell over and hit into a can of something, and it just gave that enough energy that it nudged over. So you're a Little Shop of Horrors fan. Yeah, because the bag of rice was only like three-quarters of the way sitting on top of a box of pasta, and the rice was laying next to the box of pasta. So I'm just thinking that it was just hanging off enough that it would shift. The rice would slowly fall over. I don't think it's anything that had done so. Yeah, they must be still with cosplay out that part of the state. No, they're with you. They're out in your part of Tennessee, not near in the mountains. Now that I know we have. We've got lightning bugs as well. Rain, you're right. That movie was good, but the musical was better. Charlie, I do not plan on being at the vigil. If I do go, it's going to be really up to Carrie at that point of how tired she is, and if I'm physically hurting, and how tired I'm going to be. Because if you've not done work with a spirit box or before, it can actually be very emotional and emotionally drawing on you. Um, Carrie is kind enough that she's planning on going around to places on June 15th, that she's agreed to work with me and going around places here in the Kingsport area and uh, near Ben Hill Road. Um, but if I do or Carrie does want to go, I'm probably going to stick to the one that's at Warrior State Park and not the one that's being held at the sheriff's office. The one at the sheriff's office, it seems to be all YouTube people, and the one that's going to be at Warrior State Park seems to be more of locals. I think it's actually being done by Robin. Thank you, Carrie. But I'm not saying that we're going to go to vigils, is what I'm saying. He was actually Rain. He was actually both in the movie and the Broadway play version. Speaking of that, the person that would have to arrange that has said absolutely not going to happen. And if you know that creator that's saying that, um, yeah, the person that in Hawkins County that would arrange that has absolutely said that is not going to happen. They're not going to allow it. It's not even a thought that that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't remember who called. There, I believe the guy's name is Alex, and I can't remember his last name, but they spoke to Alex, and he was dead set against that happening. He's no way that's happening. He's not permitting it. It's not even going to be entertained. I worry about the one at the sheriff's office more than I worry about the one at Warrior State Park. Warrior State Park, you're going to be best. The reason I think that one's a better one to go to is because it's going to happen in daylight, and then when the police come and say y'all got to leave, they mean you got 5 minutes and you got to leave because they're about to lock the gates to the parking lot. Occasionally, it does come out of me. Occasionally, it does come out of me. Um, I've lived in the South long enough that a lot of people don't call me a damn Yankee any longer. Some people that get to know me don't consider me to be a damn Yankee. It was another great musical too. That's scary. You guys have named 2 musicals that I was in high school. Uh, I see what you say, cosplay. Thank you very much. I'm not from the South originally, but I do have moments, some words, I can't help it. And then if I'm mad, all of a sudden I'm sounding like I'm saying, "You got a pocket cough on the Harvard Yard." So a bit of Boston comes out of me when I'm mad. Okay, guys, I'm going to offer it one more time. I'm not begging anybody, but I'm just saying, hey, if you want to come up here and talk, feel free to do so. Let me know, and I'll drop a link for you right now. Um, I don't remember. It's been a long time. All right, Charlie and Rain, I will plug my and whoever else is here. I know that I have a few people that are lurking, not talking in the chat room, and that's fine. You don't have to feel like you have to talk in my chat room. You're welcome to. But at the same time, I am going to make a comment about my Discord channel. I do have a Discord channel. If you want to join my Discord, I really don't have any like major screening process or anything like that, and I'm not interested in your information. When I put the when I give you this email address, I'm not interested in your information as far as like collecting it like some people would. That is not what I'm trying to do. Email address I am putting in the chat room right now is for the for my channel, and you can copy it and send an email to that, and I can help you get set up with joining us in Discord if you want. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. If you have not done so, please hit that like button, hit that share button, share this with social media. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so, and hit that bell notification. That way, if I go live, if usually I try to give everybody plenty of notice that I'm going to go live, but sometimes something happens where I can only give an hour or two at the most, and it will still give you the opportunity to say, "Hey, he's going live. Just check him out. Check out what he's saying tonight." But everybody, I'm going to thank you for coming out. I hope you have, as Carrie had just said, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm probably going to go live tomorrow night with a different topic. I keep saying that I want to do something on Evelyn Boswell, and I also I want to do something. So that's probably actually going to be on Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, I may be live and doing something else as well. We'll see how everything works out. I've been researching a topic, but I might have a salute to troops tomorrow night. I know that I have a veteran with us, even though tomorrow is not for veterans. It is to remember the persons that have met their demise in battle for our rights and our freedoms. So I may try to do something for that tomorrow um, about the importance of Memorial Day. But that's not set in stone yet, but you will have plenty of notice. If something does happen, please look for that. Um, hopefully, we don't have to wait until June 15th. Hopefully, very soon, somewhere else will be found. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good night. If we don't talk to you tomorrow, please enjoy your time with your family. Or if you have an opportunity to go to a memorial service in the town you live in, please go ahead and do so. Honor those that give the ultimate sacrifice to our country. Anyway, thank you for listening to me tonight. Hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend if you're off tomorrow, the remaining of it. But my name is RJ. I'm going to thank you once again, and I'm out.